There he is, the birthday boy himself, Eddie Alvarez. Edward, how are you? I don't hear Eddie. Eddie, do you hear me?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, I can hear you.
all right, cool. Happy birthday, my man. What'd you do yesterday?
Nothing. We have a dry January. Me and my wife never drink on January, so our birthdays are kind of just chill out, get a good dinner, get a good meal, and hang out with the kids.
Wow, okay. Well, why don't you do that on like February or something? Why do you have to do it on your birthday month?
Nah, I gotta start the year off right.
All right, fair enough. Speaking of which, how are you feeling? We talked at the beginning of the show about the injury that forced you out of the one championship tournament. How's the ankle? How's the leg? How's the health?
I'm back to 100%. We gave our clearance to one championship about a month ago, a month or so ago. So I'm just waiting on the matchmakers to give me my next opponent and give me my fight date. So we're ready. We're already sparring. It's 100%.
And when you say, okay, you're ready to go, do you think, I know they just announced in April, DJ is going to fight the lightweight champion, Adriano Moraes. Possible on that card, possible beforehand. What are you targeting?
I just seen this morning about DJ fighting, so I'm hoping April. I'm hoping in April as well. So
Okay.
I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. We're gonna be ready regardless. I'm gonna be ready to fight 3 fights this year. The idea of getting healthy again was to be able to be busy for 2020, so I want to be good and busy.
Title fight?
My mind's 100% there to take the one championship title this year. So 2020, we should be able to get that. I want to go undefeated. I want to get the world title.
Okay, I like it. Obviously, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on this particular week as well is because you're one of only 3 fighters to have fought both Donald Cerrone and Conor McGregor. The other two, Dennis Seaver and Nate Diaz. When you first heard about this matchup, what did you think? What were the thoughts that went through your mind when you thought about these? You know these guys very well.
My first thought was this fight probably should have happened a little while ago. These guys were kind of going at each other a while back. So, but what a matchup! I mean, both incredible fighters, and both guys can win. Both guys has what it takes to beat the other. Just who's going to show up that night. I'm excited about it as a fan. So I get to put my fan hat on and sit back, maybe bet the fights, and have some fun.
I'll ask for your pick in a second, but I'm just curious, as someone who fought them both at 155 and as a veteran student of the game, what do you think of it being at 170? Does that change the way you think about the fight?
Does what change the way I think about the fight?
The fact that this fight is happening at welterweight as opposed to lightweight.
No, it doesn't, because both are lightweights, right? And they're just choosing not to cut the 15 pounds of water. So I don't look at it like this is a welterweight fight. This is a lightweight fight, and both guys agreed not to cut the 15 pounds of water from Tuesday to Friday that we all normally cut. So to me, this isn't a real welterweight fight.
Okay. Dare I say, taking a page out of the one championship playbook, right?
Yeah, it's a hydrated lightweight fight.
Yeah.
So we get to see both fighters, the best of both fighters. The fans win, the fighters win, and the promoters win. So we won't have to worry about anybody stepping on a scale overweight.
And one of the storylines that have been discussed going into this fight is, the magnitude of a Conor fight. And historically, even Cerrone himself has openly, and, I really respect him for doing this, has talked about, sometimes mentally he hasn't been 100% there. He gets very nervous before his fights. He's even tried, his coaches have told me that before the Leon Edwards fight, he tried to, get out of the fight. He was getting too nervous before it. And sometimes he has, you could say, crumbled under the pressure. He hasn't won the WC title, even though he fought for it a couple times. Never won the UFC title. You've been in there against Conor. You know what that moment is like. Do you think this will be too big for someone like that who has those tendencies, who has those traits? Will that be a factor?
I don't. I don't think it's going to be an issue of does Cerrone buckle under pressure of the audience. I don't think Cowboy Cerrone has any issue with an audience or just showing up anywhere and fighting. He's already proven that. I started looking at this fight about 2 weeks ago and like who I would think would win this fight and why. So like for Cowboy, for me, and when I looked at Dominic Cruz, like I thought that what I had to say had some value, but it as from a fighter standpoint, but Dominic stole the words right out of my mouth. this fight for Cerrone is won or lost in the locker room before he comes out. He needs to be hot. He needs to do a full sparring round before he comes out. He needs to come out as a second round, because the second round and third round Cowboy Cerrone that we all know, who is keeping distance, letting his kicks go, his knees go, and combinations with his punches. That's the unstoppable Cowboy Cerrone that people love, and the one that wins fights. That's the guy that needs to show up immediately the night of the fight.
It's fascinating to hear both of you, mirror the same thoughts as one another. And so let me ask you the same follow-up that I asked him. How would you do that in the back? Because the back is kind of like, how do you actually do a full round? Would you just say, go full as far as hitting mitts? Would you mimic an entire round? What would you do back there?
I would. I bring my headgear, my mouthpiece, my shin guards and everything, and I bring my best sparring partner. And then you would do a round. I mean, it's go time. There's no turning back then. So you do your full round, then you come out in state, not have to like Cowboy, almost his first round of every fight is sparring, and he don't start fighting and stop sparring until the second and third. He can't afford to do that with someone who comes out so hot like Conor. So I would suggest. I remember there was I believe it was RDA, where I grabbed one of the Pettis brothers, Sergio, and me and him fought each other almost full on.
What?
Because I felt like I needed that coming out. I felt like I needed to come out hot. And when you watch even Conor, I shared a locker room with him in the back before. He was sparring and beating the shit out of Artem for like an hour. So I was almost like, I kind of get why someone comes out hot when they spar in the back like that. They don't need to get into state because they're already in state.
When you did that with Sergio, did it help? Did you feel like it helped you in the fight? Which fight was that? Do you remember?
It might have been against Gaethje. It was against a real fast starter. It was I think it was against Gaethje, maybe in Detroit. But I grabbed him. I said, "Hey man, can we get some rounds?" And both of our coaches kind of separated us because it was getting intense. But sometimes you feel like you need that, especially against a fast starter. And someone like Conor, who he has the best first 8 minutes of any fighter out there. So you're going to need to be on your P's and Q's. Like for Cowboy, I would say come out hot, number one. I would say attack the lead leg very hard and fast. Keep the body and stay in kicking range. Don't let him get in boxing range. So for at least the first 2 rounds, stay disciplined, stay in kicking range. Let the teeps go to his body and let the lead leg kicks go. And whenever he can, like he did on the Brazilian Cowboy fight, steal a takedown here and there. Cowboy has some underrated wrestling and jiu-jitsu that he don't get to show everyone all the time, but he's dangerous there.
Amazing insight. Can I get your prediction? What's the official pick?
So I don't have a horse in this race.
Yeah.
Like I love the old school guys who started when I did, like Mazadov and Lawler and even Cowboy. So my heart goes out to them. I respect both of these guys, but in this particular fight, I'm picking Conor, and it's not because I think he's the better fighter. I actually think Cerrone has more weapons and has more ways to win, but I'm picking Conor because of where I think the fight's going to take place. I think the fight's going to take place standing up. That this won't be resolved on the ground, and even more importantly, it's going to be taking place in boxing range. Conor's going to force and pressure Cerrone, and he's going to draw bad punches out of him, and he's going to be able to counter them bad punches. So I think it takes place standing up. It takes place in boxing range, and Conor wins because of his speed advantage, reach advantage, and that southpaw. Cerrone has been victim to a lot of southpaws. RDA, Nate, Pettis. He's been a victim of a lot of southpaws, and I think Conor's a bad recipe for him. And if the fight stays where I think it's going to, when I envision the fight, I think it's going to be standing up and in boxing range, I see Conor winning. But that being said, if all of us as fans watching get get to see a third, fourth, and fifth round, this is all going to get really fun, and we'll be able to see Cowboy Cerrone take over. So I'm looking forward to a good fight, just like all you guys are.
Hello, everyone. It's Ariel Helwani. I just came here to thank you for watching our ESPN YouTube channel. It's the best. You know what else is the best? The ESPN app. You can get highlights, analysis, all that stuff and more. And if you want premium content and live streaming sports, there's only one place for all of that. It's ESPN Plus.